Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Pros in Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. My name is Kahala, and I'm your host. Well, you know, here at Pros in Politics Podcast, we love all things sports and athletics, and we've had some amazing guests from athletes to Olympians to coaches. Well, you know what? For all that goes on the field and on the diamond, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, or should I say, in the front office. So today we have an amazing guest with us to talk about some of those things and to share with us a little bit of that front office life. So with us today is Javier Duren. Hello, Javier.
Hi, Kahala.
How are you?
I am so excited to be here.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. That was a great introduction.
Well, thank you. You're great. And we just want to talk about all those things. But first, let's talk about you.
Yeah. Me. Loaded question. It's a really good question. The first thing that comes to mind is I'm a child of God. Child of God, man of God. That was placed in me since I was a young lad. And it's something that I've taken for my own. And now it's the standard that I live by. And it's been a blessing ever since I made that decision. And so that's me.
The best decision I ever made. I'm with you.
So yeah, that's me first and foremost. I'm a husband of one wife. My lovely bride that I love to call her Tyra Duren, a previous guest on here. She did an amazing job. A wife of 5 years. So we just celebrated year 5 in July. And thank you. It's been amazing, right? You talk about the best decisions in my life. Following God and marrying that girl.
Okay. I love it.
So yeah, child of God, husband, corporate professional. I got a lot of different titles. Mentor. I just turned 30. And the reason why I say that is because I'm still learning who I am. And I think that's the beautiful part about life is the journey of finding out who you are. Finding out as you continue to grow, as circumstances and situations happen and how you mold and how you adapt to life. You're not the same at 40 and 45 that you are at 30. And so that's what I've been looking forward to kind of in this season. Yeah.
Well, I can attest to that because I am 45.
Come on.
And I look back at 30 and I'm like, a little bit of life happened in between 30 and 45. And no, I am not the same person. And if you are the same person 15 years later, you need Jesus and a therapist. Yeah. Okay.
And
because
like
you're supposed to grow.
Yeah.
Faith to faith, glory to glory.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah. Well, so you said you were also corporate professional.
I am.
And so who are you with?
Yeah. So I work for the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team.
Cardinal Nation.
Yeah. Shout out to the St. Louis Cardinals, one of the best organizations in Major League Baseball.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And so your role with them, what is it?
Yeah. So I'm a manager of video operations. And so when it comes to sports, it's operated a little bit differently than your normal business, right? So there's the business side and there's the baseball side. Your business side has some of the same positions that you will find in other businesses, your accounting, your human resources department. But then there's also a separate department that deals specifically with the product on the field, right? You got accounting, you got HR, but you got to have somebody choosing the players to be able to put on the field.
Absolutely.
And so that's the department that I work in. So it's called baseball operations, and I'm a manager of video operations, and it's twofold. The first fold is scouting. And so whenever we're looking to acquire players, whether that's free agency, whether that's trade, whether that's draft, my job is to make sure that we have video of their performances to go along with all of the other data that we bring in, whether it's medical grades, whether it's statistics or performance grades, to help us make the best decision on whether we should acquire this player or not.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And so I manage the process. I have a team of about 5 to 7 across a few different states in the U.S. and Dominican Republic. And so my job is to make sure that the whole video processing phase works.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've said so much already.
Yeah.
Because my mind is just spinning because I am a sports fan.
There you go. Okay.
And my brother, who's been on the platform, and he's a firefighter, but he plays baseball.
Okay.
In his spare time. He probably would be mad if I said spare time because it's serious business for him. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he's a fanatic, because one day he told me, he was like, well, Kylie, you do know what fan is short for? And I was like, what? He was like, fanatic. Like, that's where it comes from. And I was like, oh, well, because I'm not a fanatic. That's not what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But he is so into baseball. So that's how I was raised, right?
Yeah.
So while you're talking, my mind is thinking, and I'm seeing video. I'm a very visual person, so I'm seeing video flashing, and I'm seeing like footage and tape and all the stuff that you're putting together to present a package. So back to the Cardinals, obviously, but to a division of people that's like, okay, this is a good person or not?
Yeah. Okay. Case in point, our amateur draft, we'll invite all of our scouts. So we have amateur scouts that are placed around the U.S. We'll invite all of our scouts into St. Louis, and we'll have a few days of meetings before the draft starts. The draft is usually 3 days. And so in those meetings, we're discussing who do we like, who we're going to pick. And so there's this big presentation that once these players are talked about, their player profile pops up. And so on this profile,
I just see it.
We have their statistics. We have the area scout. And so for a player that's in Arizona, we'll have the scout that's for Arizona talk about this player, talk about some of the things that he's liked in the player, talked about some of the things that maybe he could improve on. And so while the scout is talking, we have, again, his stats up there. We have our player development team talking about what we could potentially do once we draft this player, how we can develop him. We have the performance team talking about, hey, has he had any injuries? And then we also have a big screen with his video playing of his past games, the hits that he had, the pitches that he's thrown, right? And so all of this data and all of these different opinions help us to really get a good sense of who this player is. And ultimately, it goes to our director, and it's really up to him to decide, okay, out of all the information that we've gathered, should we acquire this player or not? Is he a good fit for our culture? Is he a good fit for our team?
Well, that's also really big, because I can, like, just on the outside looking in, I've always felt that the Cardinals had like a good culture and a good image.
Yeah.
So, some programs, and it may not always be in baseball, but like certain players, certain programs, they don't always have the best like forward-facing image.
Yeah.
But I've literally grown up here and pretty much lived my whole life here with the exception of maybe 10 years. And the Cardinals have always been up here.
Yep.
And the beautiful stadium and just all types of things. I remember when the old stadium went down and the new stadium went up.
Yep.
And I drive past it and I'm like, it still looks like yesterday. Like, it's just the way that the whole, like I said, organization really takes care of the image, the building, and just everything. Yeah. And so how does that work? Like, just maintaining a culture that people can respect.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of it is the relationship between the community and the organization.
Okay.
As you go around Major League Baseball, and even talking to some of my counterparts, the community and the organization seems so disconnected.
Okay.
But when you come to St. Louis, it doesn't matter if you're the janitor.
I know that's right.
If you're the teacher, if you one of the roaches in Grandmama Kitchen back in the day.
Exactly.
Everybody's a Cardinals fan.
Even across the river.
Yeah.
So even in East St. Louis, Illinois, we always make that distinction.
Yep. Come on. Yeah.
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 Around the world.
Yep.
There are Cardinal fans in Japan. Like, literally, yes.
Yep. So it's that relationship, and it's also a part of our business model. A lot of teams, they're good one year and bad other years. Traditionally, we've tried to consistently be good every year. We've tried to intentionally contend for a World Series every year.
Every year we're trying to be in October. Every year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this year, a little bit of exception. We had a little bit down year, but it wasn't planned. And so when you have an organization that's consistently good, you have consistent interests from the community. You have a consistent fan base that when they come to a Cardinals game, they're expecting a team to win.
Absolutely.
And so really those two aspects, I feel like have contributed to the overall success of the Cardinals organization.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can say that the Cardinals have contributed to my success in some ways.
Okay.
Because when I was a circuit clerk, I was blessed to become a part of like the executive committee for the Clerks Association.
Come on.
So I eventually became the first Black president of the Clerks Association for the state of Illinois.
That's awesome.
And when you're coming in the ranks, you put on the Clerks Conference. And it was the first time it had been brought to St. Clair County. And my theme, because half of us love Cardinals in Illinois. And of course, there's this team in Chicago. Was two of them, but there's one that you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And so the theme was Cards versus Cubs. And so I had Cardinals plates and where I pulled a Tyra Vision. I mean, I had Cardinals peanuts and we had Cardinals clothes and I took them to the Anheuser-Busch brewery. I mean, we just did it up, right? And that was one of the most attended, to this day, one of the most well-attended clerks conferences. Yeah. When I tell you the justice at the time of the Illinois Supreme Court justice in my district brought his wife to my Cards versus Cubs like day or whatever. The director of the AOIC she came. Yeah. And so I was to this day, people are still like, that Cards versus Cubs theme, event in St. Clair County that could holler through, like that's still in the annals of the Clerks Association.
That's awesome. That's incredible.
When I tell you people love the Cardinals, people love them.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a really like fun and really like high pace, high volume position, but you're not new to sports. No. So tell us about that.
Yeah. And so although I worked with the Cardinals, which is baseball, I grew up basketball. I grew up playing basketball. A lot of it, I feel like, was because of my dad, right? You're a little kid, you want to be like your dad, and he was an East Side graduate. He played basketball, and hearing the stories of my dad back in the day, I said, I want to be like my dad. And so, I grew up playing basketball, and I'd like to say that I was fairly successful at it. I played in high school, and I was recruited to play basketball Division I at Yale University.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I spent 4 years there, decorated career, currently in the Yale Basketball Hall of Fame. And after I graduated and left Yale, I had an opportunity to play professional basketball. So I spent a couple of years playing pro ball overseas. My first year I was in Holland. Okay. And my second year I was in Hungary and Finland.
Okay.
And so, sports is not new to me.
No, not at all.
A very, very, again, decorated basketball career, successful career. I loved it. Being overseas, one, getting paid to do what you love to do. Absolutely incredible.
It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then two, being able to experience the different people and different cultures, right? Like I'm born and raised in St. Louis, town in Castle Point, North County, to be in Hungary, right? Budapest, Finland, right? Just these world experiences that the game of basketball has allowed me to have. Just incredible.
That is incredible. Yeah. And I know you say you love being a part of the Yale family or the Yale brand.
Yeah.
So I bleed orange and blue.
Okay.
It wasn't Yale.
Okay. That's all right.
But it was the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and we are pretty high up on that list of colleges and universities.
All right.
Academically and otherwise. But you said you love that.
Oh.
So talk to me about that, because again, you got the Yales, the Princetons, the Harvards. Like, that's dope. I'm sorry. It is. Yeah. And so you told me that you absolutely love that brand.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing about me is I don't like saying the H word. So Yale, Princeton, and that other school.
And, like we said,
Cambridge, that other school.
Team up in Chicago.
Yeah. But no, I love being a part of the Yale brand. Quick story for you. This was my junior year of high school. My junior to senior summer. And I knew I wanted to play basketball in college. And I knew that I was going to have a lot of interest. And so this was June, and it was a period where high school athletes could go to college campuses for their elite basketball camps. And so one of those camps that I went to was Yale. And so again, this was June, and I went to the Yale basketball camp, and I played really well. Killed it. So well that at the end of the camp, the head coach, shout out to Coach James Jones, longest tenured Ivy League coach in the league. Shout out, black coach, my man.
Okay.
He came to me and he said, Javier, I want you to commit to Yale. Now, again, in my 16-year-old brain, I said, thank you, coach. I appreciate it. But I knew July was coming up, and July was the live period where all of the college coaches could come and see you play.
Okay.
And so in my brain, I said, okay, great. I got Yale in the basket. Let me wait until July to see what else I have so I can make the most informed decision. I get back home that night after the camp. My mom asked, how was the camp? I said, it was great, Mom. The coach, James Jones, he wants me to commit. And she said, great. You're going. I was like, Mom, what do you mean? Mom. What do you mean I'm going to Yale? Like, I got July coming up. I have all of these colleges that I could potentially pick from. And she looked at me. She said, that man said he can get you into Yale. I want you to play for Yale. Call that man back right now.
Okay, Mama.
And so I said, okay, Mama. Got on the phone, called Coach Jones. Coach Jones, that offer still stands. And so the reason why I bring that story up is because I believe in that moment, my mom saw what I didn't see. She saw Yale as a part of my brand. She saw prestige. She saw like confidence. She saw, wait a minute, you went to Yale. There's something different about you.
She saw destiny.
Yeah, she saw destiny. And the fact that I was representing Yale, I didn't only attend Yale, but I got a chance to represent it playing basketball. There was notoriety. Right? So she saw all of these things that my 16-year-old self couldn't see, didn't want to see. But yeah, I thank my mom and my dad as well for them encouraging me. And outside of, again, following Jesus, outside of marrying my beautiful wife, attending Yale was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And I'm still reaping the benefits of it now.
And you will continue. So that is a beautiful story because obviously, like we discussed, I have 2 boys and a little girl. And mamas know. Yeah. Okay. God gives us that, right?
Let me tell you something. Mamas know.
Mamas and daddies too. No shade on daddies. Okay. But we can just see things. And so God puts and invests things in us as the wiser senior parent, right? To be able to say, to see and then to say. Because I'm big on speaking and seeing. So I speak and then I see. And my life has just evolved in that way. So for your mother to be able to say, hey, no, I see a thing. And so, no, call that man back.
Call that man back.
Because this is where we going.
Call him right now.
And just look. I mean, her prayer, that was a prayer. Sometimes people think that a prayer is, dear Heavenly Father, like a prayer can be a thought. It can be a desire of your heart. It can be so many things. And you'd be like, God, I didn't even actually articulate that out loud. And he like, baby, I know. I know, right?
I know.
And so that is just a beautiful story. And that encourages me, right? As a mom, to keep praying, keep believing, and keep watching. And then that moment's going to come when I can have a moment like that with my boys to be like, oh, no. You call them people back.
Call them back.
Call them back. That's right. That is beautiful.
And so, again, Yale is something I hold near and dear to my heart. Of course, being able to study at a high level, being able to play at the highest level, but also the people that I met were absolutely incredible. One of my best friends now, I met in college. And even now, I think about all that Yale has given to me. I feel like it's my duty to give and sacrifice for Yale. And so I'm currently the president of the Yale Club of St. Louis. Yeah, we have various regional clubs. And so I'm the president of the St. Louis Club. And it's been great. We have a few events coming up. And again, just being able to stay within that Yale community and continue to give back to Yale is, I feel like, all that I can do. Right, as I think about all that Yale has given me.
Absolutely. And I can only imagine what that network is like because I know what the U of I network is like. I know what the IU network is like. So I can only imagine what your network is like, especially in this area, to be able to connect and still network and still move forward together as those Ivy League grads. So you played basketball.
I did.
Division I before NIL. Before NIL. What are your thoughts?
Oh, man. I am not a fan.
Okay.
The reason why I'm not a fan is because it didn't exist when I was in college.
I love it.
Let me tell you something.
I was not expecting that. I love it. a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, I think it's well-deserved.
Absolutely.
Well-deserved. And I'm so happy for the athletes that get to take advantage of it now.
Absolutely.
Right? In my day, right, folk got in trouble.
Lost trophies.
Right?
They need to give it back. Okay.
One time for the people in the back.
Give it back.
Yeah. But no, I'm happy for those athletes. I think it's a step in the right direction when it comes to equity and people getting what they're worth. Right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm a fan. I know it's a developing space. It's definitely a space I want to get more knowledge about and get more.
You and I both.
Yeah, get more involved in. Right? As I think about having kids and hopefully they take up athletics, and if it comes down to it and them being in a position to receive NIL deals, we definitely want to explore that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm grateful for, again, those athletes being able to take advantage of that opportunity. And I hope that more and more athletes can. I think it's well deserved.
I absolutely agree. So this is our first NIL conversation on the platform. But as a lawyer and just like you said, as a parent, it's just something that, like you said, is well deserved.
Yeah.
Especially considering some of the sanctions and things that have occurred in the past that obviously retroactively they're not addressing as they should.
Yeah.
But I went to a Notre Dame game. And of course, they have this huge football field.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm bundled up because it's freezing in Indiana. And I'm just looking around. And I know I paid a pretty penny for our tickets. It was my brother. I took my oldest and myself.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, I said, these babies are out here on this field in this cold. I said, and if each person paid $1 for their ticket, they made a killing. And anybody with common sense knows folks pay way more than $1.
Way more than $1.
So why wouldn't these babies on this field be able to name, image, and likeness, be able to earn income, and do the things that they do? Because I have a friend, his name is Sergio McClain. He played basketball in Peoria for years, very successful high school career, and then went on to Illinois. And his dad was a very successful coach in the state of Illinois. And we were having a conversation about NIL in recent years, and we were talking about how me and my girlfriend, Nicole, we were able to have fun and hang out and study and go to class if we felt like it, not. But he's like, as we didn't have those luxuries. I didn't have that great college experience. Now, it was great. I played ball. I did all that. But I didn't have the same experience that you did.
Yeah.
I had to go to class. I had to go to tutoring. I had to do this, and I had to train, and I had to whatever. And like you said, I don't like it because I couldn't do it. Imagine how much better you would have felt going to tutoring if that cycle was coming in. And so I think when you look at what departments and divisions and schools, what they earn, and yes, you get your education, but you're giving me an education. But when I hit that field, when I hit that court, when I hit that diamond, though, it's not the same. We are not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So to be able to have, like you said, a little bit of equity.
Yeah.
In an environment that has persisted forever.
Oh my gosh,
right? Remember when they had the helmets that weren't helmets? They were just like these leather things.
So
it's been an athletic world, and we've loved athletics forever. So I am completely with you that I am so happy for these young men and these young women out here making this paper while they go to school and building legacy early.
Yeah.
Like, who said you can't start building that early?
Who said?
And so I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I was like, oh, he doesn't like it. Okay, well, that's good. So let's see where we going. That was perfect.
There you go.
You got me.
Yeah.
So as we get ready to close, I have one really good question for you.
Okay.
It seems that what the space that you're currently in, it's not an easy space to break into.
For sure.
So for men and women, young people, whoever, like, do you have any words of encouragement or any direction for men and women who are looking to get into like that front office life?
Yeah, for sure. So I say this with 2 years experience of being a hiring manager. And specifically for the positions that I'm hiring for, there are about 700 to 800 candidates. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And so it's a question that I get a lot. How do I get into baseball operations? How do I get into sports?
I know.
All of that. And I'll say 3 things.
Okay.
1, have a good understanding of what you can bring to the table.
Okay.
2, be confident in what you can bring to the table. 3, focus on how you can solve a problem.
Okay.
A lot of the answers that I get, and when I ask these sorts of questions to individuals that are asking me these questions, probably the number one response is, "Oh, I'm a hard worker," or "Oh, I just want to do anything and everything." And without trying to be rude, my response in so many ways is, I hope you're a hard worker. Right? Like, I'm not going to look to hire anybody, and nobody wants anybody in their organization
that isn't going to work hard.
Exactly. So that's a given. Right? But by you being able to solve a problem, even if it's not fleshed out, right? That requires you to do your homework on the organization. That requires you to talk to some people within the specific department that you want to work in, just to see how they work and kind of understand some of the things and some of the challenges that they're kind of facing. And I find it more attractive. I find candidates more attractive when they come and saying, "Hey, here's something that I've been thinking about, and here's how I think we can fix it."
Okay.
So yeah, really those 3 things. Know who you are, know what you're good at, walking and being confident in what you're good at, and looking to solve problems. And I think the beautiful thing about those 3 pieces of advice is that it transcends walking into sports. It transcends working with the St. Louis Cardinals. Like, those 3 aspects can be adapted to any potential door that you're looking to walk through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that because we try to always make it universal. Like we love East St. Louis and we love St. Louis. But when we bring guests on, I hope that people can apply what we talk about to any area. So just like with HR, when Tyra came on, I was like, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Don't put your address on it.
Please
right?
don't.
No matter where you are, make sure that this and that works and the tips that she gave.
Yeah.
And just like with the coaching or any of the people that we brought on, financial tips, mental health, it can be universal to anybody. And so I love that because the one thing that really stuck out to me is confidence.
Yeah.
Because if you're just like, well, I think I can, and maybe I can, and I'm just looking for, it doesn't come off well.
I can do anything.
Right.
But everybody's already doing everything.
Exactly. You and the other 699 people. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But to be confident in knowing, like you said, what you can do, what you offer, and I am a problem solver, and here's a problem, and here's my solution.
Yes.
Like you said, that transcends any door that you're knocking on that you want to open.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just to piggyback off that, you said universal. The advice that I try to give it universally. Because again, my story, I never imagined working in baseball. It wasn't something that I was intent on working into.
I love that.
It was a position that the Lord dropped into my space, dropped into my life in a season. And I said, oh, okay, I guess this is the door I'm supposed to walk through.
Absolutely.
And so when people are coming to me asking, what was your secret formula? How did you do it? I was adaptable. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew who I was. I knew what I brought to the table, and I walked in it. And as I got into the organization, I was able to solve problems, specifically the problem of video and it having such a demand that there wasn't anybody to kind of manage that process. And so that was the problem that I ended up solving. And now I'm managing the process.
And look at you.
Yeah.
Oh, what a blessing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You just, That was great.
Yeah.
It's always so much to think about after, the episodes and I talk to dynamic guests like yourself. I'm just sitting here like, you know what, this is blessing me.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting the pearls out of this situation. So I really appreciate you. And I thank you so much for coming on. Like you were just doing amazing. Like you just out here killing it. And I am so happy for you and for your family. And I just know that it's only up from here, like with God, and you got a great family structure, and like it's just, I'm just so excited for y'all.
Thank you, Kyla. Thank you so much. Well, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Will you come back?
What? As often as she'll have me back.
Yay! Yeah. Well, I'm excited, and it's gonna be a great season.
Yeah,
it's gonna be. This next one, it's not gonna be like.
Oh, bro, I felt that. Thank you. I sit up in my chair on that one. No, but thank you so much, Kahala. This is amazing. And I'm excited for the people that your vision in this is going to reach. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And thank you for tuning in today to Pros in Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and you'll join us again next week. But in the meantime, please like, love, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.